Hi everybody, I hope you're having a great day. In this video, I'm going to be covering Summoner. He made his first appearance in X-Men Volume 5, Issue number 2, that was released in November of 2019. He's the Arakko-born grandson of the powerful mutant named Apocalypse, and was generally considered the last of 3 high summoners remaining, which were the most powerful class of this unique form of mutant of Arakko. His exact height and weight aren't listed, but when compared to his grandfather Apocalypse, I estimate that he's about 6 feet tall and should weigh around 180 pounds. Having all black eyes, lips, and fingernails, while having long white hair and chalky white skin. He also has the unique physical characteristics of having the High Summoner tattoo on his chest, as well as having black tears whenever he cries, and having an ethereal white mist that occasionally comes from his body. Now, Summoner's mutant abilities are tied to his actually being the highest rank of the Summoner class, being able to literally summon and control the highest order of creatures from Arakko, including an entire horde of elementals and up to 3 major Daemons, such as a huge Cthulhu-looking monster. This summoning ability also allows him to manifest his own weapons from a black material out of his body, with his main sword being named Colony. He's also functionally immortal and is nigh invulnerable, not seeming to be able to take any damage at all except through his one weakness, which is his eyes. Now, we learned that Summoner was born about 300 years ago as the son of Apocalypse's daughter named War, and another Okaran mutant named Bracken. He was born after the Okaran island split and is considered native to the half named Arakko. Summoner was born into relative safety despite Arakko being in the savage Amenth dimension. The mutants' defenses had fared well against the Daemon attacks over thousands of years. That is, until his grandmother Genesis would take a force to try to end the war by killing off the leader of the Amenth forces, named Annihilation. However, this plan would backfire, and without their leader, the Daemons would go berserker and overrun Arakko's defenses, with Summoner then being sent with other Arakko to go get help from his grandfather outside the Amenth dimension. Well, at least that was the initial plan, because his grandmother Genesis would eventually be possessed by the Annihilation entity, which led to the Amenth Daemon army being united with Arakko, and then the change of plans to actually invade Apocalypse's Krakoa. We would later see Summoner on the Arakko Coral sense the presence of Cyclops and his children, specifically a young Cable and Rachel Summers who was going as Prestige. When he approached them, they couldn't understand each other, with the Arakko language sounding like singing to them and the English they spoke sounding like painful grunts to Summoner. But for whatever reason, Cable decided to give Summoner his last thermal grenade as a gift and sign of friendship. And this obviously didn't turn out well, with Summoner accidentally setting it off, and understandably mistaking it for an attack. He would then summon powerful beings and do battle against them, with this conflict only being cleared up after Prestige used her telepathic powers to allow them to understand each other. Later that day, Summoner would finally meet his grandfather Apocalypse and tell him about Arakko's situation. This led to Apocalypse proclaiming that he would protect all of his children, regardless of whether they were Arakko or Krakoan. Summoner would hang around and invite Anole, Loa, and Rockslide to play an old Arakko game that revealed the weakness of its players. After this, he would go to a portal that linked Otherworld to Krakoa, named the External Gate, with him entering the gate to go back home, being accompanied by Unus and Banshee. This would lead to them meeting up with his mother and the rest of the horsemen, who were leading the Amenth army. It would also reveal Summoner's first act of treachery, when he turned on Banshee and Unus, and then surreptitiously went alongside his grandfather Apocalypse to supposedly warn the Quiet Council of Krakoa about the armada of Daemons. And despite the council initially deciding to destroy the gate, the Krakoans ended up sending Apocalypse, Summoner, and some other volunteers to go fight the horde. And after they went through the portal to Otherworld, Apocalypse was reunited with his First Horseman children for the first time in thousands of years. However, with the mission now being changed, Summoner and the First Horseman attacked Apocalypse and his party, with them nearly taking down Apocalypse for good, and Summoner actually using the weakness he previously learned from the Arakko game to kill Rockslide. This battle was only stopped by the powerful reality-warping ruler of Otherworld named Saturnyne, who then set up the unique Ten of Swords tournament to settle this dispute. Summoner would be selected to be one of the Swordbearers of Arakko, and when both teams would gather up all of their champions, a banquet and then the contest itself would be held. Summoner would eventually have to face off against Wolverine in a realm of collapsed realities known as Blightspoke. And although they had a fierce match, the Summoner would eventually be taken down by the Muramasa Blade, which Wolverine would plunge through his one physical weakness, his eye. Yet ironically, as crazy as things go in this trippy tournament, since they were battling to the death and Summoner died, Saturnyne would end up giving the point to the Arakko team. So I guess his death wasn't in vain. Now, due to his powers and abilities, and his influence on the Marvel Universe, for my 1 to 10 rating, I'll give Summoner a rating of 7, which is a master rating. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I'll talk to you next time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and join the new Sage.